Hello, geometry students, and welcome to today's lesson. We are continuing in with chapter 6, and we're starting lesson 4. And so we're going to be talking about triangle mid-segment theorem. All right, so you need a piece of paper and a ruler. So if you don't have that, go ahead and stop the video and go ahead and get a piece of paper, pencil, and a ruler. Alrighty, so what I need you to do is make a triangle. Try and make it so that it's scalene, so that every side is different. And once you have your triangle made, then I'd like for you to find the midpoint of every side. So use your ruler and find the midpoint of every side. Midpoint, midpoint, and midpoint, so that each side is the midpoint of its side. Then I would like for you to connect them. So we have triangle ABC, and then connect these midpoints. We're just going to call it TOK. Then I would like for you to measure the length of AB. And once you measure the length of AB, then measure the length of OK and see if you can make a comparison. Okay, then I would like for you to measure the length of BC. And once you measure the length of BC, then measure TK and get a measurement. And then finally, I'd like you to measure AC. And if we have AC, then I would like you to measure TO. AC, TO. Okay, then what did we find out? Alrighty. So if we go into here and we found out the measurements, a segment that joins the midpoint of two sides of the triangle. So here if we have AB and we have a mid-segment, and then MP is considered a mid-segment because M is a midpoint and P is a midpoint. So this is considered a mid-segment. Now if we connect all of them, then we have a mid-segment triangle. And what did you guys find out? If AC is 20 inches long or centimeters long, how long is MP? And you should have found out that that was half, so that would be 10. Okay? And another thing that we find out, MP is not only half of AC, but another thing that we would find out is we'd get out our protractors and we'd do some measuring, and we would find out that this right here could be considered a transversal. So if we have our parallel lines and this transversal, we would measure this angle and this angle, and we would find out that those two angles are congruent, so they would come out to be the same. Let's just say they both came out to be 40 degrees. Then that would make MP parallel to AC by the converse of alternate interior angles. So not only is this segment half of what this whole side is, they are also parallel to each other. Okay, so let's just go back here and remember when we have parallel lines, we had consecutive interior angles were supplementary. We have alternate exterior angles are congruent. We have alternate interior angles, which are congruent. And then we have, last but not least, we have corresponding angles, so that they are both above their parallel line and to the left of the transversal. So we have alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, and consecutive interior. So our alternate interiors here were the triangles. The alternate exteriors were that star. Corresponding angles were this star, and consecutive interiors were our dots. Remember, the consecutive interiors are supplementary, and the other three are congruent. Okay, and so what we ended up using in this one right here is when we had these two lines cut by a transversal and the alternate interior angles were congruent, that made those two lines parallel. Okay, so this red line is parallel to this, and it is also half. All right, so here is the triangle midsegment theorem. So if you need to, go ahead and stop this video and go ahead and write this down. There are two things we conclude. One, the most obvious that you guys get is that DE is half of AC. And the second thing we get by the converse of alternate interior angles, when we made the whole midsegment in here and we measured this angle and this angle, by the converse of alternate interiors, that made DE parallel to AC. All right, now let's put that to use here and see what we can find out. All right, so we need to find the length of BD. So the length of BD, that is a mid-segment, because this is a midpoint and this is a midpoint. So it is going to be half of 17. So what's that? 8.5? All right, and the measure of angle CBD. CBD. So we need to know what this angle measure is here. All right, so what do we have here? We know that this angle right here is 26. So do we get alternate interior angles here? And so that this is going to be 26 degrees also. Okay, so we have parallel line to parallel line, and then here's your transversal. And because these are midsegments, we know they're parallel, so the alternate interiors must be congruent. All right, triangle trusses, UV, this is a midsegment. So it is going to be half of that 90, so UV must be 45 inches. And then we also need RS. Okay, and we know that this is also a midsegment, and it's going to be twice. So we need 57 times 2. So what's that? 114 inches. All right, what do we have? AB, BC, and AC are all midsegments. So JH, this whole piece right here, is going to be 15x minus 13. And AC is 3x plus 7. All right, we know that they are not equal. We need to multiply this one by 2 in order for them to be equal because it is half. So I chose to multiply by 2 because I didn't want to divide that 15 by 2. So 3 times 2 is 6x plus 14. I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. So we get 9x, and I'm going to add 13. Looks like that's going to be 27. So x is 3. All right, now they want to know the length of JB. So what is JB going to be? So I'm going to plug in my 3 in here. So this is 3 times 3 plus 7. So I have 9 plus 7. So it looks like JB is going to be 16. And I don't think they give us any kind of measurement. So we're just going to say 16 units. Now, we certainly could have plugged it in here and done 15 times 3 minus 13. So what is 15 times 3 is going to be 45 minus 13 gives us 32. And now we'd have to divide that by 2 because we get the whole thing. So now we have to divide by 2. and we get our 16. So you can do it either way. All right, quick summation is we're doing the mid segments, which means A is a midpoint of this side, B is the midpoint of this side, thus making AB a mid segment of the triangle. All right, that should be it, and you guys should be all ready for your homework. Good luck.